Okay, welcome everybody to Saratoga Whiskey Club tasting number 207. Keep rolling. We have 208 next week and 209 the week after, so we're really rolling in June here. For the third time, we have John and Lorri from Raising Glasses. They're out of Massachusetts, so we're very excited to have them with us, and they do lots of fun things with rum and whiskey and other stuff too. So John has this incredible PowerPoint. I know some of you guys might be a little hard to see from back there. We can probably tilt it a little bit, but for those online, I'm going to share the slides on my computer, so you don't need to worry about seeing this screen because you'll have your own slides. But if you guys can't see, just let us know and we'll try and make that work. But yeah, let's get started. We got eight rums and whiskeys tonight. So, oh, there is a little bit of a thing, and we'll talk about it on the fourth whiskey or rum. Or no, excuse me. It was when we started the Scotch. So some people remotely.
It's number 5.
Yeah, number 5. Some people remotely got Eminence, Linkwood 10-year. And some people remotely got Philomena Canadian rum because we ran out of Eminence Linkwood 10. So you still got 8 drams, you still got 8 whatever, but we're going to talk about both. And for those that are here in person, we're probably going to do a little bit of both too, so that you can try it. But we'll talk about that when we get there, and we'll figure it out. And yeah, so without further ado, here's John.
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah. Can everybody online hear me okay? Yeah, okay, we're good.
We're good? Okay, cool. Yeah, so we are Raising Glasses. We're looking pretty much at the entire company. It's I am John Shu. This is my wife and business partner, Lorri Kern. We do have a part-timer, Ben, who just started with us.
Drive stuff from our warehouse.
Yeah, but yeah, basically that's it. We are out of the Boston area. We go a long way back with Holly from her days in Boston, and she's really one of the reasons that we started the company. And you know, she got us addicted to fine spirits, and it looks like
addicted.
it's not a clinical definition of addiction, but yeah, we're glad to see what you know, she's been able to do that out here as well. So we do a number of things. The thing that we're most well known for is being independent bottlers, which I'm not going to explain. You guys know what independent bottlers are, but we do mostly rum. We do a little bit of Scotch, but we are also importers for brands that want to get into the U.S. We bring some of them in, and you'll be tasting some of those today as well. And we are also Massachusetts distributors. So if there's a brand already in the U.S. that needs to get into Massachusetts, we help bring those in as well. So, so what we're going to taste today is a mix of some rums. We're also going to do some scotches. We're going to do some of our own bottlings. We're going to do some bottlings from European IBs that we've brought in as well. And hopefully you'll find something that you love out of this group. And I believe everything that we have on the list today is available for sale today if you find something that you just can't live without. Okay, so just a bit of bookkeeping for those of you playing at home. I don't know exactly how much quantity you got, but
you're
3 quarters. Okay, yeah, you don't have to drink it all in one night. But for the people here, you're looking at about a half ounce. So if you drink every drop in front of you, you're looking at about 2 full drinks. Okay,
well, in terms of 4 ounces, it's more than that.
No, 2 ounce pours.
Okay.
So these are pretty high ABV. So yeah, we're cheating a little bit here. We do have water droppers available. If anything comes in too hot, and you know, even if you're just getting a sense like it's a little too dense, few drops of water, as you guys know, will open it up, and hopefully you'll find a paddleable level for it. If you just keep adding water, it just gets worse. Then maybe it's not your pour. Okay. Okay, so our biggest pet peeve when we were sitting where you guys were sitting, because we were just fans for many years. And we did countless tastings. And the thing that we always hated was when the presenter came up here and just talked forever before you get that first taste. And we always swore we were never going to do that because we always said that was cheating. Because after listening to some jerk talk for half an hour, anything tastes good. So we're not going to cheat. We're going to get liquid to lips as fast as we can. So let's go right into the very first pour. This is, we're going to
I
take
believe
you,
they go left to right, bottom to top.
they're numbered on the.
They're
on the sheet.
numbered, but
Okay.
yeah, just
Okay.
left to right, bottom, top.
Step back. Okay, all right.
It's more for
Okay, all right, cool. All right, so we're going to take you to the island of Reunion, which is, if this is Africa, and this is Madagascar, which we all know because our kids watch those animated movies. To the left of that is yet another island, Reunion, which is in the middle of the Indian Ocean. We don't get a lot of Reunion rum over here, which is kind of sad because they make some of the best rums on the entire planet. They are ex-French department, and they're one of the 4 countries that are properly allowed to call themselves agricole rum. So about 95% of the rums that you're going to taste are made from molasses because that's easy, it's stable, it travels very well. It's one of the reasons why rum is such a spectacular spirit, because virtually every country in the world can make rum, because even if you can't even grow a single stalk of sugarcane in your country, you can still get molasses to come over. And there's still a lot of other factors that affect the terroir of the taste of rum beyond just the molasses itself. And you probably know this from Scotch, because almost, the Scotch distilleries, a lot of them all use the same exact barley. There's a few different kinds of barley, but it's a pretty limited set. But the raw material itself is just one variable. So Reunion is the biggest distillery in Union is called Savannah. They're actually one of the biggest rum producers in the entire world, but they're almost virtually unknown on this side of the planet. So what we have for you today is not one of their agricole sugarcane juice rums, it's one of their molasses rums. A lot of the rum nerd community loves their agricole rum. They love the funky stuff. They love that cane juice stuff. But they kind of forget that Reunion also makes spectacular molasses rums as well. So when you're tasting this, obviously you're going to get a good strong rum backbone behind it. But what we really like about this is you're going to get kind of this mix of baking spice and cream and vanilla. It's a little more exotic than a lot of your standard molasses rums. This one is when we got the cask at 6 years. So we did a 6-year release. We held half of it back and we let it age for another year. And then we aged it to 7 years. And then we released it. And that's what you're tasting. That's what you're tasting today. We're actually down to our final 2 or 3 bottles of the 7-year. So yeah, so this will probably be it. Probably be the end of this bottling as of tonight. So tasting notes. Yeah, we talked about the baking spices. If you hold on to it long enough and you feel it develop on your palate, you may pick up some people think it's like kind of a dark chocolate or Madagascar chocolate, which might just because we know Madagascar is right over there in relation to the Reunion Island. There's also kind of a fruitiness that's there as well. And some people also get some sort of tropical, kind of like a green banana note on the end of it as well. I think it's just a great example of how complex Reunion rum can be, but still be very crowd pleasing as well. Because I don't think it's a hard, rum to drink, but it definitely rewards you as you sit with it and really give it a chance to develop on the palate. One thing that we hate to hear is when somebody tastes, one of our bottles and go like, "Oh, it's so smooth." Like, okay, that's exactly what we did not want. We did not want any of our drinks to be smooth. If you want smooth, you got water, you got vodka, you got milk. For us, spirits should take you on a flavor journey. So we don't want something that just goes like this. We want something that brings you up, takes you down, takes a left turn, gives you a little surprise at the end. That's kind of the profile that we're looking for in all of our bottlings as well. Okay. So this is 61.7%. So it's definitely up there. Obviously, it's cask strength. It has 2 years of what we call tropical aging and 4 years of what we call continental aging, and then an additional 1 year of continental aging in the US. Massachusetts aging, the best aging there is. It's not the best aging. So the tropical aging is typically how long has it spent aging at origin, usually where it was distilled. Tends to be hot, tends to be humid. The distillate gets hit very hard, and under those conditions, there's a lot of wood extractions going on. Some people may say like, oh yeah, it ages more quickly in a hot, humid climate. That's not true. It's not like it's a time machine where they bend the laws of time and space. It just means it's pulling more influence from the barrel quickly. If you're a super rum snob, you will insist that all of your rums are 100% tropically aged. And you say, that's always the way it tastes best. But kind of my analogy to that is, I'm sure you guys have all had some bourbon that's been 20 years, 25 years, 27 years, and you're tasting and you're like, this was too much. All I'm getting is oak. I've lost the actual distillate flavor itself. So we agree, like there should be a good amount of tropical aging if you really want the impact of the wood. But once it gets shipped off, typically to the UK, where there's a broker there called Maine Rum. They've been collecting rum casks for about 300 years. So they have the greatest collection of rum on the entire planet. But when the rum reaches there, it ages more slowly because it's cooler, it's not as humid. And a lot of people say like, oh, those years don't count. Well, those years do count. And all those rum snobs who say like, oh, continental aging, everything continental age sucks. Like I challenge them to go to Scotland and talk to a Scotsman and say, all of your Scotch sucks, because by definition, Scotch has to be aged in Scotland, which means it's 100% continentally aged. So I do think there's something to be said for letting rum get hit very hard by the wood in a hot and humid climate, and then giving it some years to kind of just chill out, relax, sand off some of those rough edges. You can get like a beautiful combination of the power plus also the elegance if you do have that split aging. And anytime you see a split aging, you can almost be sure it's from Maine Rum in Liverpool, the UK.
And most independent, I mean, you can't be a snob anymore because independent bottlers have usually multiple continental, tropical.
Well, when you start, now we can go straight to the distillers and we do buy straight from the distilleries. But when we started 6 years ago, nobody's going to talk to you. Oh yeah, like sell me one cask of your rum. They're going to be like, who are you? So you have to buy from a broker, which is Maine Rum or ENA Spare or or Bristol Spirits. Even they sell the casks that they've been collecting and holding, and that's how you get started. So yeah, most IBs start that way. You get Holmes Key. I know a lot of you guys probably know who Holmes Key is. Down Island. Everybody starts there, and then once you establish yourself, then you can go straight to the stores and buy things. But it takes years because they're just not going to talk to some random American who wants to buy rum. So that's what they have the best collection I've ever seen in my life. Like going there is.
It's like a museum. Grail. Yeah, it's like a museum of rum.
Is it racked?
Some of it is.
Dunnage?
Well, they just moved all of their casks to a new warehouse, and that is more organized. Okay. But the other one was like catacombs. They were just casks stuffed in little spaces here and there, and it frankly looked disgusting because it was like mold all over the place.
It was a mess. I remember seeing things like, oh my god, this is from like 1955, and they're like, oh, I forgot we had that. Like what? So yeah, it's crazy, but I mean, yeah, the brokers are the way most IBs get started is buying from the brokers. So you can't be snobby because it's good stuff. It's just they have good stuff. They've been just saving it forever.
Yeah, but as an independent bottler, if you want to, because there's more and more independent bottlers showing up every year. Frankly, a lot of them we've helped because they said, hey, how do you do it? I'm like, okay, well, we'll teach you how to do it too. But if you want to stay a couple steps ahead of them, you really need to start making some direct connections with distilleries, because otherwise you're buying from the same pool as everybody else. So
if they produce that much rum, are there some big brands that they're behind, or who's the parent company?
Savannah Distillery is the big one. There's also another one called Sautier. Savannah has a lot of bottlings under their own line, but it's typically the French and
the European market.
Yeah, they go crazy for that stuff.
The Rumners love Savannah Her. Have you heard of this? HER.
Okay, we actually that's
It's
awesome.
Yeah,
we actually have a bottle of the only, if you want to try it as a pour, bonus pour later. We do have the Savannah Her, which became a cult rum. Her HERR stands for High Ester Reunion Rum, and it was done in a very weird style where they let it ferment forever. And it's incredibly funky, and it tastes like, some people say it tastes like strawberry yogurt. Some people say it tastes like bubble gum. And it's, there's nothing like it in the world. So it was very, very, very hard to get. And the only ones that came into the US were unaged. So we brought in the very first aged version of Savannah Her. So if you want to try the weirdest rum you've ever tasted,
It's sold out. You can't get it, but you can taste it.
We're hoping to bring in more, because we brought in a ton of it and it just vanished instantly. So
another one that's really good right now though is Holmes Key Barnes, and it's called Savannah Longtime. So I don't know if you guys get a lot of Holmes Key up here. No. But Savannah Longtime is a really good.
Yeah, it's unaged though, so
it's unaged, but it's delicious.
Yeah.
It's very good. So if you find that and any of the, you probably wouldn't have it here because it's not single barrel. But it's one liquor stores that has
There's
things.
Burnick now.
Yeah, they are with Burnick.
You mentioned a lot about the wood and the intense aging in a wood. Is there a barrel culture? Is there something, you know, if this particular wood is the only thing that's allowed, or were they?
No, I mean, very much like Scotch. You walk into a rum distillery and you're going to see Jim Beam. You're going to see Evan Hill. They very much want those used bourbon casks. That's kind of their standard. Part of it is financial, but part of it is it just works. There's the greatest rum distiller on the entire planet is on record saying you should never ever do rum in virgin oak. He thinks it's just terrible. But that's Richard Seal, and he's got very strong opinions. And somebody pointed out, like, hey, you did this one release that had virgin oak. I was like, we don't talk about that one.
But everywhere we've been, Madeira, not Madeira, sorry, Martinique, everywhere we've been, it's almost all Heaven Hill or Jack Daniel's barrels. The only difference was in Madeira. In Madeira, they like to use Madeira.
Yeah, they use the French oak over there.
Wine barrels, so they don't use it. That's the only place I've been where I haven't seen like racks and racks of Kentucky bourbon barrels to age the rum in. Yeah,
I mean, you do get, obviously they do all kinds of specialty finishing barrels. They do a lot of French oak barrels, but the standard is very much the OUB, once used bourbon casks. Okay, so while you're finishing that up, we'll just go over origin story pretty quickly. We know that some of you guys want to get to the next game, so we'll do the accelerated version of this. So this is actually our 8th startup between the two of us. We've done things in, we've had recording studios, we've had software companies, we've had market research companies. This is our first venture into alcohol, and it all started 2007. Well, no, 2017 is where this is what our collection was in 2017, and yeah, we thought we were hot shit. And I'm sure most of you guys looking at that go like, yeah, that's a good start. But we got into buying some casks just as customers. We got 2 casks from New Riff in Newport, Kentucky, and we also got 2 casks of rum from our backyard in Ipswich, Massachusetts, which was Privateer. And those were well received, and people said, yeah, you're pretty good at this. And I thought, oh, it would be lovely to someday not do what we're doing now and then be able to do this as a profession.
We sold them very legally from our base.
Yes, very super legal. It was all friends and family. In 2020, I had an offer to buy my software company, which I had for 26 years. And I didn't really want to sell it, but my partner was like, dude, like, if we're ever going to get out, this is the time to get out. So he convinced me to do it. And thank God he did, because 5 days later, this thing happened called the pandemic, which would have slaughtered our company dead. And the guy who actually bought the company told us a little bit later, if it had been 5 days later, he would have killed the deal. And there was no way we could have survived, because we were, especially as a software company in Boston, you can imagine what the salaries are like when you're competing against small companies like Google, Apple, Microsoft. Yeah, when he said that, I felt kind of bad. I also felt extra bad because one of the stipulations of him buying our company was that he could not lay off any of our employees for a year. And that was a pretty good year if you're an employee to not be able to be laid off. So I stopped feeling bad for them in 2023 because Inc. magazine publishes the Inc. 5000 list every year, which is the 5,000 fastest growing companies in the United States. And the company that he bought from me and my partner ended up number 5 on that list. So I was like, okay, you did fine. And a lot of people said, "Oh, you must be so proud." And like, "Yes, I am proud." And then a lot of people said, why are you so proud? How many times did you make the list the first 22 years you're at the company?" And I was like, 0. So obviously they eliminated the one reason they were not profitable, which is probably me.
Which always gives me business ideas.
Yeah, that I don't think it's going to work a second time, honey. Yeah, so it ended up fine. He did well. Our employees obviously did well because they had a job through the worst crisis in our lifetime, at least. And we got enough money to buy a few casks and get the ball rolling for this company. In 2024, we were named the Independent Bottler of the Year by the Rumcast, which is the #1 rum podcast in the world. Not that there's many, but they're the biggest. And we also got for the Rum Revival, another rum influencer named us the Bottler of the Year in the rum category for 2024. We did not win in 2025, so clearly we suck now. But we're going to try to make a comeback in this year. Okay, let's go to the second. This is one of our all-time favorite releases, a sentimental favorite, but also just from a profile favorite. This is called Burlesque. It is from Roulaison Distillery in New Orleans. So this is American rum. So all those people who say there's no such good thing, there's not such a thing as good American rum, we believe otherwise, and we think this is a terrific example of that. So when you're tasting it, we've never tasted a rum that tastes anything like this. So I imagine for most of you here and for those of you playing at home, this should be a unique pour.
It is weird.
It is weird. There's several reasons why this has the profile that it does. Because it spent 7 years in a Zinfandel Cabernet red wine cask. And if you know anything about Lorri and I, we think red wine is the worst cask to finish anything in, because trying to get the right balance, trying to deal with the tannins, trying to get it to balance and taste good and play well with the distillate without completely taking over distillate, it's a very, very tiny margin for error. So when we got the sample, we were like, we're going to hate this. And then we tasted like, we really definitely do not hate this. And we also found out that the fermentation on this, we believe, is the other reason why this tastes so different. Typical rum fermentation time is 1 to 2 days. This one did 90 days of fermentation, which should never happen. And they say that they did not intend it. They kind of forgot about it.
They were going through some financial struggles, and Andrew, who we're friends with him, he's the head distiller, he actually said he just totally forgot.
Yeah, like, what's this?
You probably know Andrew from Discord, yeah, Andrew Linkwood.
So our theory is that 2 terrible mistakes, one choosing to do a red wine cask and also letting it ferment for 90 days, somehow magically work together. And what you got is something, you can definitely taste the wine, but it's kind of luscious. It's kind of cherry cough syrup was a note that Holly had in her notes, which is funny because that's one of the first things I tasted. It's like, yeah, I kind of get like Luden's cherry cough drops, which is basically candy, right? It's not, it's thick, it's bold, it's got really, really long finish. It's got those great complex layers, a little bit of vegetal notes on it as well. It is 58.3%. It's pot still, obviously. Just by the weight of it, you could probably guess that it's pot still. We do for our bottlings under this line, which we call the folklore line, we donate 5% of the profits of every bottle to a charity that is connected either to the country of origin where the rum was made, or in this case, the city of origin. And this went to the Anamorski of New Orleans, because we talked to Andrew, the distiller, and asked him, who do you like? And he said, oh, I like animals. We're like, nice, because almost every charity we do is animal.
It's either animals or children, to be honest.
Yeah.
Gail's still on our Barbados because she has 11 dogs. Did you know this? 11 King Charles Cavaliers. But yeah, so she picked an animal charity in Barbados too. But yeah, it's either animals or children. She's going to say, oh well, a couple are LGBTQ.
Yeah. So a couple other things about Roulaison. We did 2 casks, and we wanted to honor the great traditions of New Orleans, and the 2 things that we knew that they were famous for is obviously burlesque and jazz. So this particular label was our homage to the band Queen, because this was a Queen share rum. which is basically where you take one slice of the pot still run. So you guys probably know this. It starts off with the heads, which you throw that away because that'll kill you. And then you got the hearts, and then the hearts gradually turn into what we call the tails. And the tails are kind of bitter, heavy, and nasty. But that last slice, they call that the queen share slice because it's the thickest, richest, boldest expression of that pot still rum. And so they'll keep a couple of those slices, they'll keep collecting them, and then they'll redistill it again, and then you get queen share rum. So we've done a bunch of queen share rums releases, and they're all named after some musical act that has something to do with Queen. So the first one we did was Her Majesty, which is a Beatles song.
Oh, it's here too.
Oh yeah, we do have that one. This actually we're down to 4 bottles of that. So we also did Thunder Pressure from Under Pressure, which is a David Bowie Queen song. And this is Jazz, which is actually the name of a Queen album. And if you look here at this logo right here, this is actually a ripoff from the cover of the Queen album. And we did not get caught on that one. We did get caught on the cover for Under Pressure because somebody said, this looks like the cover of Queen too, and we need you to get us a statement from Queen saying that you're allowed to do this. And I was like, Freddie Mercury's dead. I don't think we're going to get his approval. So we saw we had to slightly alter that label. Final note on Burlesque is the week that we dropped these bottles, Roulaison declared bankruptcy and went out of business. So what you're tasting is probably the last single barrels that will ever be released from that distillery, which is very sad because they were doing an amazing, their portfolio was just so experimental, very bold. Not all of it was good, but some of it was sublime. And the rumor is that they're going to go to auction, and apparently there's one buyer that's going to buy it all up and just blend it all together. And so all these. Oh, did it?
I think it happened May 19th. Yeah.
Well, that's a shame.
How long were they open for?
I think they were 5 years.
5 years.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, one of the ones we got was 7 years old, right?
Oh yeah, it's true. Yeah, it was 7 years. Okay, yeah, might have been a little longer.
But yeah, they were really small. It was like a 2-person distillery in New Orleans, and Andrew's a great guy. And yeah, I'm really sad about it because we have samples from like 20 other barrels, and like we can't get any of them. It's really sad.
Yeah, we'd like to say that was just a terrible coincidence, but that's actually the second time that we've dropped a bottle from a distillery the same week that they went out of business. There was a distillery from Amsterdam, a woman-run distillery, and we dropped a bottle called Kyrie, and that was the week that she declared that she was shutting down as well. So if you ever start a distillery and 2 jerks from Raising Glasses want to get a barrel from you, you should probably tell them no, because we're basically the Black Widow of the.
She closed hers because she got pregnant, so that's not the same.
We made it through 3 tastings with you guys.
Oh, that's right.
We're almost there. You're still in business, so you're okay.
Okay, ready to move on? Okay, so we're going to take you to Scotland, but not for Scotch, not for whiskey. This is for rum. Scotland doesn't have a huge rum tradition because obviously they've been busy doing something else for centuries and centuries. But when we went to the rum show in London, they had a room which was all UK distillers. And we thought, okay, this will be a fun joke. We'll go in there and it'll be terrible because we've never heard of any of these people. And we walked in and we were just blown away. They're all young distilleries and they're all fairly young distillers. But they had obviously taken all the lessons they had learned from working in the Scotch industry and applying it to rum, but trying to do something really different and something that was like a distinct style. One of the bottlings that they did was called Millions of Peaches. I was like, I've never tasted a rum that tastes like peach. I was like, oh my God, this tastes like they squeezed millions of peaches into a bottle. So crazy stuff. One of the ones that we liked the most was from this distillery called Matugga. They're a little bit north of Edinburgh. They are a couple. One is from Jamaica and one is from Uganda. So when we tasted their lineup, we actually brought in all their bottles into the US as well. Their original lineup, they had a white, they had a gold, and they had spiced. And we really liked them, but they were all in the low 40% range. and we kept saying like, oh, this would be so good if it
And they're all
was just a
blends,
little
they're not
higher.
single barrels,
Yeah.
they're all blends.
So we asked them, okay, we want to bring your bottles in, but we would love it if you would make a single cask of the golden rum and leave it at still strength. And so this came in. So what you're tasting now is 58.8%. It's our version of their gold rum. The name is Dhahabu, and Dhahabu means golden in Swahili. So it's still called golden. It's just a different language. If you are tasting it and you're like, this kind of tastes Jamaican, well, there's a good reason for that. One of the distillers is Jamaican, and they use dunder in the making of this, which is probably the number one component of why Jamaican rum has that kind of funk and wild tropical fruits, like that classic Jamaican profile. So dunder, if you've ever made yogurt, if you've ever made sourdough bread, if you've heard of sour mash technique in bourbon, it's all the same concept where at the end of one run, you take a little bit of that waste material and you toss it into the next run. In the case of rum, you do your pot still run and you have this stuff left over. It's just called dunder, and it's highly, highly acidic. So when you take that and you throw that into the next batch, you're basically kickstarting and supercharging the fermentation process, because one thing that yeast love is highly, highly acidic environments. So the yeast just goes crazy. And the more the yeast is able to be active and the more esters and flavor compounds that they're creating out of that, the funkier your rum is going to get. And essentially the more Jamaican your rum is going to get. So yeah, we love this aspect of it. We had always said we're never going to release a Jamaican because so many of our peers in the industry they're masters of Jamaican rum. They put out dozens and dozens of spectacular Jamaicans. We're like, we're never going to be able to compete with that. But then we tasted this and like, good, this is different. So it has some Jamaican backbone in it, but I can kind of sense that it's kind of got some Scotch influence as well. So I think
it's that gentle aging, I think, in Scotland.
Yeah.
The 20 minutes north of Edinburgh, and I think the gentle aging and you get some of that sea salt kind of tasting in it, I think. But the weird thing is they told us this would not sell. They're like, nobody's going to buy this. And now everybody in Scotland wants this, and they're not going to have to batch. They've never sold single barrels. They've always done blends. They're like, everybody wants it now because you guys have it. So now they're going to add it to their lineup.
Yet another distillery ruined by raising glasses. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I get a Scotch influence on it.
Yeah, I kind of get that Speyside honey kind of character to it, a little bit of that orchard fruit character to it.
That dull fruit cup, the tin
Yeah.
one, you know, the metal tin.
Oh yeah, the foil thing,
like
yeah.
With the syrup,
Yeah.
like fruit and a little metallic.
Yeah, we were nervous about this one. We weren't sure this one would sell, but it's done great. And we've had 2 rum clubs that have done private label bottlings of it. So that's
In
done
fact,
really
yeah,
well.
we're just getting ready to buy another cask from them for the fall. So it's gone really well. It's better than I thought. I didn't think we'd get American people to like Scottish rum, but
Yeah. I did want to make a note about, so we're talking about fermentation. I forgot to mention that if you are I don't know what the term, yeastologist. If you're a person who really knows yeast, you're gonna be like, there's no way that yeast is actually active for 90 days. So this 90-day thing is complete BS. Well, that is true. Yeah, after a certain point, especially when the ABV gets too high, the yeast is gonna die. And to my knowledge, there's no real reason to let it go that long if you're expecting more yeast fermentation. So at some point it does, the yeast fermentation goes away, but then that opens the door for a secondary fermentation, which is bacterial fermentation, which is something that's almost impossible to control. It's really just a roll of the dice. So when the bacteria starts to go in there and starts doing its thing, it's outputting a whole nother slew of flavors. And sometimes it's great and sometimes it's terrible. And again, I think the fact that Burlesque is actually drinkable and the fact that it's actually great is just an incredible stroke of luck. It was the only sample out of that, out of all the ones he sent us. He sent us like 30 some samples. They're the only one that tasted anything like that. So if you want to start a distillery, I don't necessarily recommend that you try to do all your bottlings with 90-day fermentation, because also that's a good way to go out of business if you have to wait 90 days for every single run. Yeah, question?
One-off thing too, like the 90. You might have said this, and I apologize if you did. Is the they do it once? And
It was an accident.
Yeah, it was an accident. Yeah.
Have they tried to replicate it?
They're closed, they're bankrupt.
Yeah.
That's what you said, like,
Yeah.
has anybody else tried?
Not to my knowledge. I hope
You
so.
wouldn't need 90 days.
Yeah.
No. We know some people that are doing 7 to 14 day fermentations, but not 90. I've never heard of anybody even attempting that.
Yeah, actually the
Out of curiosity, who liked it? Just raise your hand if you liked it.
It's
Because I love it, but I know it's not for everybody.
That's
Yeah.
I think anything
Well,
that's
Adam.
different.
Yeah.
Can you extend the fermentation at all with less yeast and a bigger mash?
you'd have to ask somebody with way more experience than I would. My guess is no.
It's duplicating.
Yeah.
I think it
Oh,
would
so they
still-
start
yeah,
going.
and then it
you're
dies in its own heat and
done. Like
alcohol.
15%.
Runs out of ingredients.
Yeah. Yeah. You could probably try to keep it alive by
Maybe a
through
little
throwing in
longer,
more
yeah.
nutrient, but I can't imagine. I think there's a reason why it hasn't been done on any kind of scale. Okay, well, speaking about long fermentations, so this is number 4. This is Pelee Furies 3. This one has a cover on it for a very good reason, and you'll know it the second you smell it. It is a style of rum called Grand de Rome, which, if you were to translate it from French, translates to big and stinky. So if we were to leave the covers off of this and let it sit for an hour, it would be all you smell all day, would just be this one rum. So Grand de Rome, when people first taste this, if they've had experience with cane juice rums or agricole style rums, they assume, oh, this is a super funky cane juice rum. We were shocked, and everyone who tries Grand de Rome for the first time is usually shocked to find out that it's just molasses. And the only reason it tastes the way it does is they let this ferment for up to 14 days. So again, they're really letting the yeast go to town on this and giving it an opportunity to get to its fullest expression for what it's capable of. So it is very funky, it is very strong, it is very floral, and to be honest, there's only 2 distilleries that make Grand de Rome rum. This one is in Martinique, and the other one is Savannah and Reunion from our very first tasting. The Savannah Grand de Rome is considered more briny, more heavy. This is considered more clean funk, which is almost kind of like contradictory term, but we found this to be highly drinkable when we tasted another bottling of this, and almost kind of like a confectioner's sugar. That little bit of sweetness on it was really nice. So when we were drinking, I turned the bottle around and I said, this is from E&A Skier, which is the company that we're talking about earlier that has their offices in Liverpool for main rum, but they also have offices in Amsterdam. And I said, oh, we can actually get this stuff, because everyone was raving about this bottle. So we called up E&A Skier, like, hey, we want to get some of that like Galleon Grand de Rome. And they're like, for what? And we're like, we want to bottle it. Like, no one's going to drink that. And like, well, we think they will. And like, can I get a cask of it? They said, no, it's bulk rum. It's just sitting in these gigantic vats. Yeah, it's a blending component. And honestly, like even the distillery that makes it, like Galleon, never intended it to be drunk by human beings. It was an industrial product that they used for baking and
Chanel number 5.
and also there's a rumor that this is one of the components behind Chanel number 5. And
behind your ears, ladies.
yeah. So if you want to make a nice gift for somebody in your family, like, here you go, this is almost Chanel number 5, and you can drink it too. But then then people started drinking it and they were shocked, like, oh my god, people actually like this stuff. So it's kind of the same. It starts off kind of like the same thrill seekers that are like, oh, I want Octomore because I want to get hit over the head with a peat. Well, if you want to get hit over the head with like floral funk, you go straight to Grand de Rome.
Or if you want to get hit over the head with it, you can let your husband dump 4 gallons into the back of your car.
Yeah, so there's this funny story where of all the rums to lose 4 gallons in your car, this is not the one, because it's been 8 months. We've run. Yeah, well, we were worried that if we got pulled over by a cop would be like, oh my god, what's up? And I'm like, the wife, she loves Chanel number 5. What can I say? So we had a friend and said, oh yeah, so that car, we're gonna call it the Grand Aromobile because it's all you smell. And we bought another used car because we got so sick of smelling it.
Our dog's got one.
So this is so the artworks, we commissioned original artwork for every bottle. And for this one, it is Mount Pelee, which was a very famous, at the time, it was the deadliest volcano eruption in history. It completely wiped out.
30,000 people.
Yeah, a lot of people. It was in 1902. It destroyed several very famous rum distilleries. One is called Depaz. And that entire, not only did the distillery get wiped out, every member of the family, except for one, died. And the only reason he survived because he was in school in France at the time. And he actually made it his life's mission to come back and rebuild the distillery. And Depaz Distillery is thriving today, thanks to that. I didn't quite know about all the tragedy behind that when I chose this as the label. But yeah, so if you lost somebody in the Mount Pelee eruption, I apologize. But yeah, so this is probably one that this is definitely not for everybody. When we released the first Pelees, it was the unaged version, and we thought, you know what, it'd be cool to try to do some variations on this. So the second one, we threw it into a Mount Gay rum cask, and that one turned out really, really good. I thought, well, let's go a third time, and so we put it in the Oloroso sherry quarter cask, and we let that go. And the one thing that we learned about these very high ester rums is they extract flavor from barrels really quickly. So it was just a matter of months, and we were tasting, like, I think we need to pull this, because if it goes any longer, you're going to lose the actual distillate flavor of the Grand Arome rum itself, and all you're going to taste is sherry. So yeah, we pulled this. I think it was only 4 or 5 months out of that, and we're making another batch of it now, because the Pelees 2, actually all 3 of them sold out, 1, 2, and 3. So we bought another tank of Grand Arome. And we're remaking number 2, number 3, and number 4 is going to be done in Madeira. So we're going to keep doing this until we find one that fails. But yeah, we tasted the Madeira last week, and it's coming along. I think in another month or so, it should do well. One of the issues about aging is this one was done in a quarter cask. So anytime you put something in a smaller barrel, it's going to get more of the wood influence, simply because the surface area ratio of liquid to surface area is smaller in a smaller cask, whereas the Madeira cask is very, very large. It's almost the size of a sherry butt, which means that you've got a lot of liquid that's not actually touching wood. There's more of it kind of in the middle doing nothing. So that's why we think the Madeira one's going to probably need to go a couple of months longer than the quarter cask.
Madeira cask something you've used before?
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and you will actually be tasting it, I think, next. So.
I was curious about that, if it was the Linkwood.
Yeah. These casks are not cheap, so we're gonna squeeze them to death and get everything we can out of them.
Also, we only have room for about 20 casks in our warehouse, so we have to reuse them.
Yes.
We just don't have room to keep buying more casks.
So 5% of profits of this one goes to animal welfare charity in Martinique called Los Manacoples.
So does this distillery also do agricultural runs?
Yes, they do
I assume that they do. Yeah, Legalion, there's so many distilleries in Martinique. Yeah, we toured Martinique, 9 months ago? About?
We were there in November.
Okay. Yeah, and there's so many of them out there, and that they pump out phenomenal quantities of rum. This is what Legalion's most known for, but I can't imagine this is the only thing that they make.
They definitely do make articles and stuff. It's crazy. I mean, they treat rum like we treat, I don't know, Pinot Grigio. It's just like everybody has an $8 bottle on their shelves. You know what I mean? Like it's good stuff. It's not like. Yeah.
And they drink pretty much all cane juice there, and pretty much all unaged. To them,
and no ice.
Yeah, if it's molasses or if it's aged, they don't really consider that real rum. And it's like, oh, why did you ruin it? It was perfect. Like, okay, people, calm down.
We couldn't even get the distilleries to talk to us, so we had proper tea punches. I was like, yeah, we drink this in the US. They're like, no, you don't. I'm like, yeah, no, I do.
Yeah,
they don't put ice. They don't put lime. You can put a wheel of lime, but you can't squeeze lime juice in it. Like, that's not how they drink their rum.
Yeah, if you go to Martinique, the tea punch, which stands for petite, small punch, all it is, it's literally just this white agricole rum, some sweetener in it, and like what they call there's like a specific slice of lime. You're supposed to like cut off just this side of it to make a disc if you want to do it like the real proper way. And yeah, you're not supposed to put ice in there. Like, and if you go to Martinique, it is hot and humid. It's like, this is what you people are drinking. So yeah, I went out and said, yeah, I need ice. I can't drink it like this. Right.
Yeah. But I highly recommend Martinique if you ever get a chance to go to Rum.
Okay, so we're going to go to number 5, which, as Charles was saying, some of you got the Eminence Scotch, and some of you got
Everybody here got Scotch online. A couple people got.
You got the Philomena. Okay, all right.
Everybody
So
here has the Scotch.
Why don't you talk to Phil?
okay, sure. Yeah.
If I'd like to try it, I can pour some of those cups of Philomena.
Yeah, so we have this available as a bonus pour later, or you can have it now if you like. So this is from Canada, which the way we came across this is we were at a show in Miami, and one thing we do when we go to these rum shows is we always ask all our friends and the people that we know in the business, what did you like from the show? And one after the other, they kept saying, oh, you should check out that Canadian rum. And we thought we were being punked because we'd never even heard of a Canadian rum. So we went there and we were tasting their regular bottlings, and like, oh, these are pretty good. And then we tasted this one, which was 5-year Oloroso sherry cask, full maturation and Oloroso sherry, first fill sherry. So this is a sherry bomb of rum, and we love this one. This is a big crowd pleaser for us. Obviously, the sherry itself helps because it's going to add that sweetness. It's going to add the fruit. It's going to add some of the nuttiness that you get from a really good Oloroso cask. And so this spent let me correct myself. This spent 1.5 years in Woodford bourbon, and then the last 3.5 years in this Oloroso sherry cask.
This has been popular. People.
Yeah,
enjoyed
it's
this in the shop.
it's a real
It's a
sleeper
whiskey drinker
for us.
rum.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there's somebody, if we get a Scotch person that says like, I just don't really like rum, like, what kind of Scotches do you like? And if they start saying Macallan and all the sherry, all the famous sherry ones, we're like, okay, I think we got something for you. And this has been a good gateway drug to get those drinkers into rum. But again, it just shows the like incredible diversity of rum. We started with bourbon, and then we got really, really heavy into Scotch. But when we discovered rum, we're like, holy crap, this is the biggest rabbit hole in all spirits, because every country has it. There's so many different styles. There's so many different ways of making it. And to this day, even though we've been serious about rum for about 10 years, there's hardly a week that goes by where we don't taste a rum and we're like, this is different than every other rum we've ever had. It's the diversity of it and the history of it. When you get into the history of each country and their rum traditions, it's just like an endless novel when it comes to spirits. So this one we named, it's from the Calgary area, from a distillery called Romero. And we named this, we asked the distiller, what do you think we should call this rum? Because we want all the artwork. And again, we want the name of every bottling to reflect something about where it was made. And he said, I think you should name it after this figure in our country's history called Philomena. I'm like, oh, tell us the story. He's like, oh, she was the last woman to be hanged in Canada. I'm like,
No, the very first ever woman.
The first and the last, I believe.
I actually sold, I didn't know that story, and the first guy to buy this, Charles, you know him too, he bought it to drink with his grandma because that was her name.
Oh no.
I didn't know that till right now.
Whoops. Yeah, so the
Whatever, grandma enjoyed it, and she was
I
like,
sell it.
yeah, so it's kind of a tragic story. There was a rum runner in Calgary who was smuggling rum into the United States during Prohibition, and he's kind of a colorful character. They called him Emperor Pick, and he kind of a Robin Hood figure. Did a lot of crime, but gave a lot to the community, and he was pretty popular, but he was still a known criminal. So his son ran into a cop, and the cop there was an altercation, and the son got injured, and then Emperor Pick and Philomena ran into the cop, and the cop was shot and killed. And both of them were arrested and prosecuted for murder. And Emperor Pick had this theory saying like, well, there's never been a woman executed in Alberta, so I think you should take the fall, and that way I can get off and you'll be fine because you're a woman. So that didn't work so well. So both of them were sentenced to death. And there was she basically tried to recant, saying like, I was actually there, I didn't actually pull the trigger, blah, blah, blah. And there was pretty good evidence that she wasn't the one who actually committed the murder. So there was a worldwide campaign to get her amnesty. Even the Pope interceded on her behalf, and obviously it was unsuccessful, and she was executed. And so we thought, okay, that's a terrible story, but it's very compelling. And what really was the kicker is the distiller's best friend is the great nephew of Philomena, and he asked for permission. He asked him for permission to have a representation of her on the bottle, and he gave that permission. So yeah, special bottle, interesting history. And I think it's just a great, super chuggable rum, especially if you like the Oloroso sherry finishes.
What's that distillery? Is that a newer distillery too?
Romero? No, they've been around about 20 years,
Okay.
but they don't
Focus on
nothing
rum
comes
now?
to the US. Oh, yeah, only rum.
Yeah.
No, they do a gin and something else, a dessert thing in the port.
Okay.
Yeah,
But they don't really import to the US. I think they have distribution only maybe in Michigan and Chicago, like not anywhere else except for us.
Yeah, his father, the current distiller's father, actually has been making rum for a long time. I don't know how long it's actually been this company, but yeah, there is a long tradition of making rum back there. And we were shocked. We thought we knew everything about rum, and look, there's yet another distillery no one's ever heard of in a country not known for rum.
Yes, I would have never, if you told me I would like something from Canada, never.
So we are
Yeah,
going.
Canadians.
So we are going to go into the alternate taste for number 5, which is the Eminence. But I did want
One you guys all know.
but I want to talk about sherry a little bit, because everything that we're going to taste from here on out is finished in something. So as far as sherry is concerned, I was drinking sherry finished stuff for years and years and years before I ever actually tasted sherry or even asked like, what is sherry? And I remember the first time I tasted Oloroso sherry, I expected it to taste kind of like what I'd been tasting from sherry finished drums. And I was like, I think I got the wrong bottle, because this is terrible and I hate this. And this is nothing like what I expected. Now I'm like a huge fan of sherry, and I love it. But what you are getting from sherry finished whiskeys or rums is not really that actual sherry flavor. It's more about the sherry interacting with the wood. So then the other factor is like, well, what is sherry? Well, everyone knows it's a dessert wine, but the way that sherry is made, or what makes sherry is this layer of floor. So when they put the wine into a cask, they purposely leave a lot of air in there, so that as the yeast grows and multiplies, it can form this layer that goes across the top of it. And if you leave this layer, this floor layer in there, it can actually seal off the dessert wine from the air, so it doesn't oxidize. And how long you let it do that radically affects what kind of sherry you end up making. So if you were to go from light all the way to the darkest and the heaviest, these over here, this pheno has never seen oxygen. So that's why it's light. It's very, it's almost clear. Then the taste you're going to get are, it's a little bit briny, definitely floral, but much closer to a white wine than a red wine. As you go down the line, you are either letting the floor die naturally, which means that it's had some time of this sealed off aging, which they call biological aging, which is no oxidation. But then when the floor gets either punctured or dies, then it develops more oxidation, and then it gets darker. And if you've, if we've all noticed, you've cut an apple, and then when you cut it, it's white, and then after a couple hours, it turns brown. And that's the oxidation process. So it's very similar. That's what's happening to sherry as well. And the reason that Oloroso is by far the most common one is because it's had a lot of oxidation, and it's developed a lot of those sort of nutty nutty tannic flavors. Sometimes you get those figgy, jammy flavors in as well. But that is mostly attributable to the fact that you let it oxidize. So what we're going to be tasting is some Oloroso. So like the Filomena you just had was an Oloroso sherry, but we'll also be doing a Palo Cortado later, and we'll get into Palo Cortado because that's the weirdest and the most notorious of all the sherries. Okay, so for those of you who are drinking the Eminence, this is part of our Linkwood line. We bought a whole sherry butt of Linkwood, and sherry butt is about twice the size of a standard American bourbon barrel. So it was a lot. Yeah, so yeah, kind of like 2 of those. And we were looking at that and we were like, we're never going to be able to sell all of that. So we basically cut it in thirds. We released Emergence as the 9-year uncut before we did anything to it. It was a sherry butt, so it did have 9 years of sherry aging. But if you've ever seen this bottling, or if you've ever looked at it, like it's very, very, very light colored. So that tells us that this was almost for sure a heavily refilled cask that had been used many, many, many times. Because otherwise, if you put something in a first fill Oloroso cask for 9 years, that's going to be dark as hell. So I would call this is the light Oloroso version of this.
Which was here in the store 2 summers ago. It sold out. Yeah, we've been long.
No, this is long gone. So the second one was Ascendance. So this is where we put it in the sherry Oloroso quarter cask, which you may say, hey, wait a minute, didn't we just taste something from that? Yes, you did. But this is what it was in first. So this was the first fill. And we call this basically double Oloroso because it had the original 9 years and that very light refill Oloroso cask, and then we like walloped it over the head with a sherry quarter cask first fill on that, and this was Oloroso. And the third edition is what you're tasting now, which is in a first fill Madeira cask. So that had 10 months in it, and it pushed the age from 9 years to 10 years. So Eminence is came out 58.3 ABV. So we lost a little ABV with these secondary finishes, but it's still pretty high up there. Out of those 3, this is my favorite because I'm just a sucker for Madeira. I love the kind of the stewed fruit that you get from Madeira. I actually love Madeira itself. And we just got back from a trip from Madeira. We went to the Madeira Rum Fest, and we spent several days there, and we toured a bunch of distilleries. And we're in love with all things Madeira at this point. But this was the starting point for us, because we bought a first fill Madeira cask, and this was the first thing that we put in it. And so it took 9 months on this one. It didn't. Probably should not have let it go any longer than that because the Madeira on this one is quite heavy. So if you love Madeira, this is going to be right down your lane. If you hate Madeira, this is not for you. One thing that we found with Madeira finishes is it's very, very tricky. You have to really stay on top of it because there's kind of what I call the Madeira cliff, where you can kind of hit peak Madeira, and you let it go any longer, it develops this kind of weird sour taste. And I've had my heart broken so many times when I've seen, like a favorite Scotch distillery, and they put out a Madeira version, and I get it, and I think it's going to be great. And I was like, oh no, this is one of the ones where they let it go too long. So be very, very careful with these Madeira finishes.
When you're aging them at home, be careful.
Yeah. Well, you're allowed home still now, so I assume you're allowed to home cask age as well.
We do have the second version of Eminence to taste as a bonus for if you haven't tasted it.
Yes.
And we cleaning out our warehouse, we found 2 bottles, so we bought them with us. It's basically sold out too, but we do have 2 of them if you want to try this sherry one, not the Madeira one, at the end.
Do you select these casks on your own, or I think some of those with Burlington wine and spirits too? Or?
No, these because these had to be done in Scotland, obviously, and we weren't going to fly to Scotland and check and pick out barrels. So this is one of the reasons we don't like doing Scotch. There's so much control that you lose by having, depending on the warehouse, to do the work for you. And
we would ask them to pull samples, and it would take them 3 months to send us a sample. By then, they could have gone bad for all we know. They wouldn't pull them and ship them the next day.
Yeah.
we had this stuff aging in this Madeira cask. We're like, can you send us a sample? 3 months later, we get it. And we're like, well, it probably doesn't even taste the same now that it tasted 3 months ago.
Yeah, and you're trying to project, okay, what will this taste like? that many more weeks in the future. It's difficult.
It's really hard to do Scotch.
And also, like we've been barrel shopping before, but I'll be honest, I don't really know what you're supposed to do, because like, okay, it's there, they open it, you smell it. I mean, if it's rotten, it's but you can stick your finger to see if it's moist or anything like that. But I don't know how anybody like checks out a barrel like this will be good for finishing. Like I think a lot of it is just pure luck. And some of them are like, oh yeah, what if it's like really ugly and it's been leaky and stuff? That's obviously a bad one. Well, some of the best ones we've had are these like really hideous barrels that have like put out like amazing stuff. So I don't know what, if there's somebody who's actually good at it, I'd love to know what criteria they're using, because I don't know how to pick a barrel. I just pray.
Right now we're just bastardizing a 27-year-old Carolina cask. We're like putting everything in there, GDL, like whatever. We're aging everything in this cask.
Just a quick secondary question. I'm sorry. On the Canadian rum, do they have as much like loosey goosey room to throw like 9% sherry into their rum like they do in their own?
Yeah. Canada's laws are different. They're allowed to do. I assume it's the same for rum as it is for whiskey. These guys, we know what they're. Obviously, they're. We made them tell us exactly what they were doing, which is how we got the history. It was Woodford, and then it was these casks that they brought over from Jerez in Spain, and they brought them over intact, which is financially a terrible decision, because you can get a lot of barrels in a smaller area if you deconstruct them and then reconstruct them when they come back over. But you lose a lot of the character of the barrel that way, and you can never be sure that you're going to put it back exactly the way it was before. I mean, maybe you could number the staves or something and get it back, but it's never going to be exactly the same. So for people who really, really care about the quality of their sherry cask, they bring them over intact, which so the Oloroso quarter cask and the Madeira cask, once they were done doing scotches, we had them bring the barrels over, ship the barrels over, and that was hellaciously expensive. So our new thing that we're doing is we're going to be seasoning our own barrels. So we're buying the exact sherry that we want and putting in the barrel, and we're like letting it age, and that way we can control exactly how much influence it has. And some people are like, oh yeah, well that's this sherry that you're buying, it's like not very good sherry, and they're like, do you know what these people put in these barrels over there? Like, like what Macallan calls sherry that they're putting in their barrels. Like, you would never drink that stuff. At least the stuff we're putting in there, like the worst stuff that we could buy in a liquor store, is probably better than most of the stuff that they're actually aging some of these barrels. And at least this way we'll be able to really control it. And also there's some, like Amontillado is a very hard cask to get, and it's actually cheaper for us to just buy a cask and then buy a crap ton of Amontillado and just let it soak and do it that way.
Fun to have like a filling party, to just like hang out and just everyone gets to dump a bottle. Let's
sit around and get drunk.
Yeah.
We do have a special release this year. We make a rum blend. This is the second year that we're making it, and the gimmick for this year is cask finishing. So one of the casks that we're putting in is the Caroni rum cask. So the Caroni is a distillery that went out of business in 2003. There's a few. There's 2002, 2004. Their bottles generally go for over $1,000 each. So we bought a cask of it. It cost us 60,000 pounds, and then tariffs hit, and so we were like, boy, if we're doing this, we're getting the cask too, and we're going to run everything we can through that cask. So that's one cask. But the one that we actually are most excited about is what we're calling the Everything Barrel, which is a take on the Everything Bagel, which is a bagel that basically has everything thrown in it. So this was just a cask that we had. It was from Ecuador. It was an Ecuador rum cask, and we didn't know what to do with it. So we just started throwing everything we had in there. So we threw some sherry in there, we threw some Marsala, threw some port, and every sample that we got of scotch and rum, it's just so we just tossed everything in there, and And so it sat there for 18 months. We're just dumping stuff into this barrel. And we're like, yeah, let's throw some of our blend in there and see how it turns out. Could be terrible. And it turned out
We did dump all the
so
other shit
good.
out before we put it
Yeah,
in.
that
We
you
didn't
can't
mix
do.
it with all that stuff. We just seasoned the barrel with all that stuff.
Yeah, so this blend, which we call Full Circle, we'll have the everything barrel edition of it, and I'm in love with it. I couldn't believe how good it turned out.
We
So
won't be able to sell it here. Because it's not a
oh, because it's a
barrel.
blend, yeah, because
Yeah,
it's a blend, yeah.
It'll be online, but we can't. You guys can't carry it, right? Yeah.
Not a blend.
Yeah.
Before you jump into Bunnahabhain, those online, when the kits went out, some just say Bunnahabhain and some say Bunnahabhain 19 year. So just so you know, the Bunnahabhain 19 is first. And if you have a kit that says Bunnahabhain without any numbers behind it, that's the last whiskey we're having tonight.
Staoisha.
The Staoisha, yeah. So just an FYI. Wanted to throw that in there.
Perfect.
So people aren't drinking the peated stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's last.
Okay, so this is from this is not one of ours. This is from an independent bottler. Their corporate base is Toronto, so technically it's a Canadian independent bottler, but all their warehousing is done in Thurso, Scotland. So how many people have been to Thurso, Scotland? Really?
It's like forever.
Okay, you're the only people who've ever been to Thurso, Scotland, because I think
It's
there's nothing there, right?
What did you eat while you were there? Seafood?
Yeah.
Nothing
It's like the
there.
northern tip. You know, you think Old Pulteney is like northern, like Thurso is
You
like.
go there before the ferry.
Yeah.
That's basically what you said.
Oh, Wolfern's there? Oh, I didn't know that.
And
Okay.
now there's another, we went up there 2 years ago. There's another distillery on the old Navy base up there. No, that's on the other side. But there's a lot happening.
Oh, okay.
Apparently the storage is cheap there.
I'm
I'm not
sure
sure
it
it's
is.
Yeah.
But yeah, they charge us for 2 days of shipping to get it from there to Edinburgh. They're like, yeah, we don't know what the weather's like. It might take us 8 hours. It might take us 16 hours. I'm like, Scotland's not that big. How can it take that long?
There's like Thurso? Oh, not Thurso. So anyways, just spend some time in Thurso. They've been collecting casks, both rum and scotch. They're at one point they had as many as 500 casks. And they've bottled some, they've sold some off, but they've just been sitting on this for quite a few years. So some of the things that they're releasing now are not obtainable, especially in the rum industry. They've got a St. Lucia 24 years St. Lucia, and we've been trying to get a St. Lucia since day one. And St. Lucia just says we don't sell to anybody. So they've been collecting for a while. But this is one of our favorite. From their portfolio. This is a 19-year Bunnahabhain. It's Oloroso sherry, and this was done for a specific club in southern Ontario in Canada. This was their pick, but we were lucky to get some bottles of this as well. I think I mean, Bunna is one of my favorites because I love the island distillate, but I don't always want all that peat, you know. And Bunnas are the king of like, yeah, you want just like a little bit of peat, or do you want a lot of peat? We can give it to you. So this was like right in my lane. So first fill sherry. So it is, yeah, it's a sherry bomb from Bunna. 19 years, pretty good aging on this, and yeah, how many people have been to Bunnahabhain? Okay, yeah, it's kind of one of the toughest ones to get to on the island because basically you're just going up this hill and it's this path and you're trying to dodge the hairy coos and all that stuff. And I'm like, there's Bunnahabhain's here because it looks like you're going in the middle of nowhere. Kind of like the same when you're going to Maker's Mark. You're like, are you sure we're on the right path? It's the Highland sheep that have the hairs. Yeah, the hairy cool. Yeah, okay. Yeah, we didn't notice the first time we went to Scotland, there were hairy coo everywhere. Like, this is great. And the second time we went, there were none. I was like, where are all the hairy coos? Like, it's not hairy season. Like, you didn't tell me there was a hairy season because I would have waited until then because I love the hairy coos. Yeah.
I don't know if they don't roam freely in the winter. They roam free in the winter and they don't do it. We were there one time in the winter and one time in the summer. In the summer they weren't as popular.
I guess they don't need the hair, but it's either that or someone's giving them a trim every year or something like that. So. Okay, ready for where are we? Number 7 at this point. Okay, all right. Slow down.
It's sherry, but it's a soft sherry. And the Bunnahabhain is still standing up to it. The distillate is.
The heat's still there for like 19. It's gotta be higher than like 5.
So it's there unheated.
Just-
No, the Bunnahabhain is the core. And then the Staoisha and then what's the other?
Oh yeah, and this one was all 19 years. All 19 years in an Oloroso sherry butt. So yeah, this is about as intense a sherry as you can get. So yeah, the fact that it can hold up to that many years of first fill Oloroso maturation says a lot about the strength of their distillate. So there is homework involved in this, which we probably should have said from the beginning. So at the end of this, we're going to ask for you to pick your top 2 rums and your top 2 scotches. And that gives us feedback on, what people liked and what we should be seeking out in the future. Yes. Okay.
I'm trying to get into Google Docs. It doesn't have pricing.
Oh, okay.
We didn't bring that one.
Oh, you didn't. Oh, I thought you did. Okay.
I'm looking in Google Docs. To see if I have pricing documents.
Okay. All right.
You might have to send it.
Let's guess it. Oh, I think I have it.
It's not in the emails. No, I looked. I just looked.
Did you send it with the samples?
I thought I did, but I could, I don't know why.
Hey, you can go.
I'm letting them finish it.
Oh.
Yeah, they said like we're still finishing this one up.
I know, we're done, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, there we go. Okay, when we saw the list of what they had, this was the one I wanted more than anything else. So this is a Kulila that was aged in Palo Cortado sherry. So this is a 16-year. I don't remember the breakdown if it's all. Yeah, full maturation. So again, a first fill. Yeah, so these last 4 are all first fill sherry casks. So you're getting the full brunt of the sherry influence on it. So Palo Cortado, which I alluded to earlier, is kind of the most controversial of sherries. And so going back to our slide here, again, these are the ones with the mostly biological aging where the floor layer has sealed them off from the air. So there's very little or virtually no oxidation going all the way to Oloroso. And then there's Pedro Jimenez, which has the added component of additional sugar and it's very syrupy and sweet. But Palo Cortado is kind of in its own category. So the way the legend goes is Palo Cortado, they were trying to make like an Amontillado or an Oloroso. And so they had that floor layer, but then the floor layer died earlier than expected. So you got this weird mix of some biological aging and some oxidative aging. And it just tasted different than any of these. If you had to say like where it landed, it would probably be between the Amontillado and the Oloroso. But it's definitely got it's almost indescribable spin on it. It's kind of a little leaner. It's a little stronger. Definitely, still some of that nuttiness, still some of that fruitiness. But it's it's basically a happy accident. And they were so thrilled with how it turned out. They kept trying to replicate like that accident and the conditions under which that happened. And basically they just gave up and they said, we're just going to make it happen. So they use all kinds of artificial ways of doing it. They may go and physically break up the floor, or they may like throw in some stuff to purposely kill off the yeast. So the floor layer breaks off. So being able to tell, what is like true Palo Cortado versus one that's basically manufactured Palo Cortado, the lines are very, very blurry. But it's a more expensive process. So, out of all of these finishes, Palo Cortado is generally one of the rarest that you're going to get. And also, I gotta say, like, it's not always good. Because as you can imagine, if you're kind of trying to artificially make this accident happen, you're not always going to get it right. So there's a lot of Palo Cortados I don't like. So when this one came in, I was like, please, please, please be good, because I love Kulila. Like, there's Kulila, I love it peated. I love the unpeated version. The Stichels was some of my favorite scotches of all. And I've had great Kulilas that have been very, very young. I have a 40-year bottle of Kulila, which is one of my all-time favorites. So when I saw that, and I saw this like super rare finish, and it had the age on it too, that's 16 years. I was really, really hoping it would be good. And when it came in, I was delighted. Yeah. So if you like that combination of smoky and sweet, and you want some of that dessert wine in there, but you don't want it to be like syrupy on top of that, I think it's complex. I think it's elegant. I think it's powerful. To me, it's almost everything I would want in an Islay Scotch.
It's like a step above the 12 year. It's like that much better.
It's a step above which 12 year?
The 12 year Kalila.
Oh, the
It's just like
Mhm.
normally you buy this is that much better.
yeah.
Deep.
PPM on it?
I don't think it's that high though. Yeah, it's not a peat monster.
It's like creamed out from the sherry.
Mhm.
Like creamed out.
Yeah, and the age just comes down.
Kuila's always, I don't know, I've always found it, I know it's not, but a softer peat, like a sweeter peat. I've always found it. But it is pretty high.
All right, you ready for the last one?
I don't know.
I think we've got 9 minutes till tip off. Okay, so we're gonna head back to Bunnahabhain. Obviously very, very different. This is Staoisha, so this is the heavily peated Bunnahabhain. The thing that I've loved about Staoisha is that I've had 4-year Staoishas, which I thought were awesome. And when we were getting kind of towards the end of our last buying session for scotches, we had some really good offers for Staoisha, but I wasn't sure if I could sell a 5-year heavily peated Buna, so we kind of backed off on it. And now I super, super regret it, because now prices on Staoisha have really, really jumped. It's much, much harder to get. I don't know how they got this one. They must have gotten it fairly young, because 11 years for Staoisha is pretty high up there. Most of the ones that you're seeing are on the younger side. And the other claim to fame for this is that it is in a first fill tawny port finish. So the differences between ruby port and tawny port are almost pretty similar to the like Fino sherry versus Oloroso sherry. So ruby port is meant to be juicy. It's meant to be sweet. It's meant to be very, very fruity and bright. So tawny port is basically when you take that port and you let it oxidize. So again, that oxidation, it turns it darker. It takes down some of the fruitiness. It brings up some of that nuttiness, some of those tannins as well. And if you get a really long-aged port, it's a tawny port. Some of my favorite scotches ever have been a tawny port finish. It was a Glendronach did one that Lorri gave to me as one of my birthday presents one year, and and I'm still holding on to the last bit of it. I think tawny port can make a great finish. I think the reason why port finishes aren't as popular as a lot of these sherry finishes is just that port by its nature is going to be sweeter than sherry. And it's very, very easy to over port finish a scotch. So when we look for a port finish, whether it's rum or whether it's scotch, we really have to be careful. Like if it's too much, we know it's not going to sell. So I think they did a great job with this one. They also do I should mention their artwork as well. We have a lot of fun with our artwork. We want every bottle to look different. We kind of wanted to be the exact opposite of the classic Scotch look, which tends to be very conservative, very austere. We wanted bottles like you could spot way across the room, like that looks like a Raising Glasses bottle. And these guys have taken it even farther. So they hire pretty expensive artists. I think we were telling some of you earlier, one of their labels was done by the lead animator for the Spider-Verse movies. So I'm sure that guy was not cheap. This is part of their chess series. So this is the white pawn that's in the A2 position. I'm not a chess player, but apparently A2 is a pawn position on the board for the white pawn. So they call this the A2 release. They have Lecheg in the series, and they also have the Ben Nevis from the series. We were going to put a Ben Nevis in this tasting, but we actually ran out of it. So, but we do have the bottling here. If you'd like to taste it, I think you guys have one bottle for sale of this Ben Nevis. Yeah, this one's great. It's quite young, but this one is from the Bishop series. So the artwork on this is the Bishop, and I love these labels. I think they're fun. I think they're actually very well rendered, and they're distinctive. So for me, what I get out of Staoisha is obviously you're going to get that heavy peat, but I also get a pretty substantial sweetness in its backbone. And I love that combination of smoky and sweet. I mean, there are times like, I want a bourbon finished Octomore because I just want to get hit with a peat, but there's something to be said by having that nice balance. And Bunnahabhain, I think its distillate is a little more richer and bolder than some of the, like a Lefroy, I think is going to be a little more austere than what you get out of a Bunna. So all the layers on this one, I think worked out really, really well. Okay. All right, so we ready for your homework? Okay, so favorites. Let's go through the line. So your top 2 rums and your top 2 scotches.
All right, I'm going to do it online first.
Okay.
These are the people that have been suffering. I'm gonna stop
Suffering.
No, but it's more fun in person. That's what it is.
No, they got 3 words.
I'm gonna stop the share, and I'm gonna do just. All right, so we're gonna go through everybody here. So top 2 rums, top 2 whiskeys. All right, we're gonna start with Jim and Marnie. Okay, she gave me a thumbs up.
Turn it off.
Wait, hold on.
All right. My favorite rum was the Burlesque,
Okay.
and my favorite whiskey was, I can't read because it's too dark in here, the first whiskey that we had. Because we had the Canadian rum, so we didn't have.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it was the one after the Canadian rum.
Bunnahabhain
I'm sorry, I can't read it.
19. How about you, Jim?
I would think it was actually just, really interesting with these rums, because I didn't think I cared for them much before, but just tasting them, it was so different. And I think it was, the Burlesque as well, the 7-year.
Wow.
And then with the scotches, I think this last one, the Bedford Park 11-year, was my favorite.
Nice. Okay.
Staoisha, yeah.
All right. Mr. Goodman. You're on mute. Just so you know.
Okay, so the rums we liked best were the Dhahabu and the Union 7-year-old. The other 2 we weren't too big on. We actually poured them out. In terms of the scotches, we liked the 19-year-old Bunnahabhain, and we liked the Caol best of all. That was really yummy.
Pretty special.
Nice.
Yeah, got it. All right, David. How about you?
I'm going to do what I usually do with weighted political voting and just go with one.
All
On
right.
the rums, the first one, the Union 7-year-old,
Okay.
and on the scotches, the Bunna 19.
Nice. I love that Union 7 years as well. Larry.
Yeah, the rum, the Union is my favorite of the rums, with Pelee a second behind it. On the scotches, the Caol wins hands down, and maybe the Bunnahabhain 19 is number 2.
Okay, nice. Rich?
Boy, those rums were all very unique. I liked them. I think my favorite was the Dhahabu,
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
followed by the Pelee Fury,
Okay.
and then definitely the Caol among the scotches with the Buna 19 second.
Nice. Nice. All right, Ted.
All right, coming off mute. Thank you, everyone. Great session. On the rums, the Union and the Burlesque were my top 2.
Nice.
Not a big rum agricole guy, so I think I was a little biased there. But those 2 definitely stood out. On the scotches, I think a lot of folks have said it already, but the Caol, and then I like the Eminence, that Linkwood, but I'll go with that. The Buddha 19 is my second choice as well.
I don't know if the other people are online or not, so we're just going to move on to the in-house people at this point because their videos are off. But yeah, all right. Thank you guys for chiming in.
All right, cool. Yeah, thanks for that feedback. Okay, so raise your hands if I'm naming one of your top 2 rums. All right, so the Union 7. Wow, man, that is the winner of the day. Okay, and Burlesque. Okay, Dhahabu from Scotland. Okay, nice. The Pelee's Fury. Okay. Wow.
Wow, we have some.
Yeah, we got sickos on this side. Yeah. But nobody had Philomena here, right?
That's his
Actually, I like
That's your favorite? Okay. Oh, you're pouring the Philomena around here? Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So for the scotches, the Eminence. You got some Eminence. Okay, good. And the Buna 19. Yep. Okay. And the Caol, Palo Cortado. Wow. Okay. Oh, almost universal. And the Staoisha. And the Peat Monsters. Okay, good. Nice.
Usually I don't love port though, or I'm very nervous.
For that little bit of peat, but you like that like soft peat.
Yeah, that was okay. Yeah.
All right, so that's the end of the standard tastings. We do have some bonus pours, but before we talk about the bonus pours, we wanted to. All right, we're just gonna have to drink all night, yeah. So we have a Calvados coming. This is our first brandy that we've ever done. So,
we should probably say goodbye.
Oh, okay, all right.
To the online people, because this is just going to be difficult.
In-house, yeah, this is in-house stuff.
So why don't you just say goodbye to them? I don't want to put my face out there.
Yeah.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah, well, thanks all you online people. We really appreciate you guys spending time with us.
No, just so you know, we do what we can do, and yeah, we will see you all next week. But thanks for joining tonight. Hope you had a good time.
Okay. All right, good night, guys.
All right, see you guys.
Okay, so we've got a Calvados coming. This is our first brandy. We didn't think it was